Good evening, Speed Gaming 3, and welcome to the Super Mario 3 Randomizer Weekly Race. We've got a pretty interesting one for you tonight. This is going to be Perma Tanuki Suit mode, a mode that I have not yet seen. So I'm excited to see what it's like. I hope you all are as well. I'm Drossi. I'm joined here by Growlwolf. How are you doing? You excited for this too? Have you played it?
I have actually. I love the permanent suits that we have added to the randomizer. The guys that put this stuff together is just incredible. They're always adding something new, and this is one of my personal favorite things. And the permanent Tanuki suit is actually going to be a really interesting one. So we're not going to be doing any altering of the levels like we would if we were doing a frog suit, but there is going to be a little bit of a difference in strategy. The P-Speed strats are going to be a little bit different, and we'll kind of watch out for those and mention those when we see them.
And here we are already in World 8 Fort in World 2 starting out.
You know, and this is one of the times where you are so thankful that you have yourself a Tanuki suit because you don't have to worry about, trying to go for an item right off the bat. You've already got one pre-installed. So really, it's not going to matter a whole lot what our runners pick up here.
And you take damage left and right too, as you can see the runners doing.
Absolutely. Even though the P-Speed strat's going to be slightly skewed just based on how the runners are going to be able to utilize that Tanuki ability, these runners are going to be utilizing a lot of damage boost as we see three of our runners currently going underneath the conveyor belts and just doing a clip.
Yeah, and now one thing to note, especially since, most boosts are useless anyway, we do not have end cards in this setting.
Absolutely. And another thing that we're taking out are the hammers breaking locks. We said, you know what? That's too powerful. We want our guys to play a lot of levels.
And meanwhile, we have one of the two remaining auto-scroll levels, 5-9, no way around it since it's the second level in the game.
So we've got a couple of people that are currently in chat saying that it should have been a one-hit KO. I will have to pass that along to the team. I know that they are wanting to do a lot of different things with the weekly races. That would be a really good, fun one to do as well because you have to pay a lot more attention, and those end up being a lot slower just because you have to be very careful of that damage.
Yeah, here the strategy is really just don't fall in a pit.
Absolutely. A fall here would be absolutely dangerous at this point, as all four of our runners are within just a few seconds of each other. I mean, a very strong start for all four of these guys. And I mean, that's obviously what we expect. Three of these guys were on the bracket side, and Leslie Pro went very far in the Challenge Cup side of the tournament that we just had. So a very powerful set of racers here. So no, not really a whole lot of difference in strategy here. It looks like as our runners are going through 5-4, we also had a little bit of a divergence with some of the runners doing the Hammer Brother first. Doesn't matter, they're all going to end up playing 5-4 here, and we'll be moving on to see what's next.
And it's a bit surprising, Human Mustard didn't just fly, and Leslie Pro takes a death there. I was saying Human Mustard didn't fly over the level, Leslie Pro didn't quite get far enough.
Yeah, that's always the coulda, woulda, shoulda. And, 5-4 is one that if you know about it, it's a very good tool to have. And these four runners, they're very well versed, not just in the speedrunner strats, but also in what the game has to offer. We get used to these speed runs where you just know everything that you're supposed to do, but not necessarily everything about the game. Randomizer combines both of those.
And by the way, that coin ship for the runners who took it had a Jugum Cloud. You'll see this now on Leslie Pro's side. I'm not sure if Midi Guy took the coin ship. No, he is not. So he will be missing that cloud. Our other three runners all have it.
And that is going to be a big item advantage because there's not really that many items that our runners can use. A star is going to be usable, but then the fire flowers, the tails, the Tanuki suits, anything else basically is not. And since the hammers are not going to break locks, only 3 and 4 really have a good place for our runners to use it. Maybe 6 if they do pick up a hammer. For Leslie Pro here, he's a little bit behind. We're kind of watching. He's about a level behind at this point. He's finishing up the Boom Boom fight. Then he has to go take on the fight with Morton. So, you kind of feel just a little bit like, oh, shoot, you're so far behind. But I have seen Leslie Pro come back from so many races at this point. I'm never counting this guy out. He has as much of a chance to win this as anybody else does. And, it's not over until the big turtle falls at the end.
Absolutely. And as we're seeing with the runners rescuing the king, we're going to get a lot of comments about Wild Tanuki appearing. So if you have command emotes, feel free to spam them in chat.
Absolutely. And you have our complete permission to do it every single time any of the runner gets it. So, if we got it back to back to back, that's fine with me. Let's get them flooded, because I think that's the whole purpose of doing a Tanuki suit. If not, it should be.
Totally agree with you there. And hey, we have World 6 starting off. And it looks like a lot of our runners are going for that dead-end fortress to see if it breaks a lock or builds a bridge or what.
Yeah, and you kind of have to believe that this is the right choice here, because with it being a dead-end fortress, if it does build a bridge, then obviously and you get to skip a level, so no harm, no foul. But if it doesn't build that bridge, which we have found out that it does not build that bridge, it very likely is going to be a required fortress later down the road, and that is not something you want to get wrong.
Yeah, and we won't even know. It looks like everyone's doing it, so we won't know where the lock or the missing bridge would have been.
And of course, in true fashion, this is now 6-5 that we have our runners going through. And, usually a very scary level, but now with these two runners having Tanuki suits, it's not that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah, this is where the difference between, effectively invincibility and Oko is huge. Can you imagine if this were the Oko setting?
It is disgusting, that's for sure, and I feel like that cloud would come out to play for every runner.
And you can also see runners hitting these blocks and getting power-ups, and if you're wondering why that is, they're probably looking for a Starman.
Or possibly a 1-up. You never know when a problematic level is going to come up, but of course with the invincibility, English is hard, then, it's really not that big of a deal. So, I don't know. It's kind of makes you wonder. Maybe it's just old habit. So now we've got 2-3 coming up on the side of both Midi Guy and Johnny Link. Now Human Mustard is joining them as well. I expect some flyovers here, especially considering that if you do get the right flight pattern, you can hit a P switch that makes it so you don't actually have to wait for the Koopa shell. Looks like these 3 runners are not going to do it. Leslie Pro, we'll see if he pulls that off.
But again, even if you're waiting for the Koopa shell, at least you don't have to worry about taking an accidental death to the Koopa shell, which I've seen many a runner do in more normal modes.
Absolutely, and I feel like if you haven't had at least a death there, then you've not actually played this game, because that's so easy to do. Everybody's done it. You kind of forget for just a brief moment that, wait, I'm not supposed to get hit by that, and you wind up taking a hit and sometimes a death, and especially in this randomizer, that could be very costly. To answer a couple of the questions in chat, we had JD Silvergun asking if this is a multi-seed race. No, tonight is just the one. We've got the Tanuki permanent, and it's basically brackets except for that. So it'll take roughly 35 to 40 minutes potentially. But no, this is just a single race tonight, and they cannot lose their Tanuki power-up. This is an invincibility where it's permanent Tanuki suit. You can take as much damage as you want. That's just how it goes.
Hey, and Leslie Pro did do that piece which you were mentioning. Let's see if... So he didn't have to wait. He's doing the Hammer Bros there. So how do P-Wings work here? Will you still get, like, P-Speed for the duration of a level in the Tanuki suit if you use one?
No, actually. So the P-Wings are completely useless because it cannot... You could equip it in the overworld, but all that would do is give you a P on the front of your guy until you actually enter a level, at which point you will lose all your P-Speed strat. You will have no P-Speed for the remainder of the level.
That's kind of unfortunate. It would be cool to see, like, a Tanuki with full P-Speed, because I know that if in the vanilla game, if you use a P-Wing and grab a Tanuki suit in the middle of the level, you'll retain P-Speed.
That is interesting. I'm not sure I knew that, actually.
Stupid tricks you try as a kid to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm just a little regretting that I haven't done that yet. I do like what Matt Ewok had to say in the comments. It was, how about this for a compromise, replace life counter with hit counter? And surprisingly enough, our very own Macobra actually had introduced a patch that did exactly that. It was a ROM hack, basically, where you did have a life counter. So it kind of works a little bit, and he's even added it to, like, Bowser, so if you wanted to jump on his head. Macobra has done such a great job with so many different things in this game. It really makes it more and more interesting the more we play. It's fantastic.
And Human Mustard is the first of our runners to take down Lemmy with Midi right behind as Johnny Link enters that level. Leslie Pro looks a little bit disoriented. He needs to get through this next level, and then the pipe goes right to the end.
Absolutely. And what a long World 6. All four of our runners are entering, well, they're going to be going into World 3, which we now know as World 7, at 12 minutes, essentially, 11.5 to 12 minutes. That is a crazy long couple of first worlds, and this actually could be a very long race, depending on how some of the rest of these stack up.
Yeah, we'll see if there winds up being a good opportunity to use that cloud. Or maybe if we get more clouds.
You know, I think shy of an auto-scroller, I don't really know what you'd use it on. We've already seen 5.9, so obviously Atlantis would be a big one. But other than that, I mean, you have invincibility. There's almost no reason to use it. That was actually a separate patch. It wasn't added to the randomizer yet, but Fred has had some ideas of what he wants to add to the randomizer. Maybe we could see about talking him into that.
Oh, and we see our first boss bass level here over on the left. That will kill you.
Yes, that is considered an instant death. It would be almost akin to Mario utilizing a Starman during one of the levels and taking out Boom Boom. But yeah, that is one of the instant deaths. So Midi Guy currently working on 2-4 that we just saw the runners do a moment ago, Human Mustard that is, and almost a little surprised that they didn't opt for going the top route. With that Tanuki suit, you could definitely take the faster route doing that, but you know, they obviously know something I don't.
Well, and Human Mustard found the pipe that gets to the island with the castle. Unfortunately, there's a lock there, so we will need to go hunting for a fortress to break that lock.
And that is one of my most favorite things of a World 7. I know I'm absolutely diabolical, but I love when the runners... I am. This is my seed. I'm very proud of it so far, just saying. But I love when the runners have to go looking for a fortress, especially when there's 2, and even more so when there's 3. Because now it's really a game of don't fail to the pipe fatigue, know exactly where you need to go and what takes you home, and, you know, get lucky. And unfortunately, only one of those you can control. So, you know, best of luck.
But I'm thinking we're definitely going to see some divergence here.
Yeah,
MIDI guy now also on that island, but also finding that he needs to figure out where to break a lock.
you give 4 runners 5 different pipe paths, and you're going to have 2,200 different results. You know, it's going to be a lot of different routing choices and things like that. And looks like Leslie Pro decided to use a cloud there that takes him to the 3rd island, but unfortunately doesn't take him to the fortress. Thankfully, though, that will not come out to play. That won't be a factor at all. I do find it interesting. He's gone for a coin heaven, which will give him an item. It's definitely not the fastest way to get through this level, but maybe he's I don't know. Maybe he's going for a hammer or a cloud here. I don't know.
Well, that cloud could help. Replaces the one he just used.
Absolutely, and he's in a good place here. He doesn't have to worry about utilizing another cloud on that same level. At this point, he's just doing the same game that everybody else is, and that's play where the fort. So as soon as he figures out that answer, he's going to be moving right along with these other guys.
While we were talking, Human Mustard apparently found it, though, because he's taking down Ludwig.
And Johnny Link and Midi Guy are both hot on his tail. Midi Guy in the airship, and Johnny Link is now on his way back to take it on as well. So, even now, these guys are within just a minute of each other, if that.
And there was a music box in there somewhere, too, because Johnny Link just skipped both piranha plants.
We try our best to give you all the information and all the highlights and stuff, but I got to tell you, these guys are so good and so fast, sometimes it's hard for us to catch every good thing.
So we finished this world right where we started it, with Human Mustard, about 10 or so seconds ahead of Midi Guy for the lead.
What about this World 1? If either of the fortresses was further in, like where 1-3 or 1-4 would be, we'd have a very long World 1. At this point, it's going to be 3 levels, and our guys are going to be out of here. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know that we've seen the 3-fortress world yet, and with 3, 4, and 5 still in the play, I'm very interested to see where that comes out to play, because if it's a World 3 with 3 fortresses, I'm going to hope for a very good time.
Well, we're getting this 2-fortress level World 1, so I wonder where the 1-fortress world was. And Human Mustard guessed wrong and Midi Guy guessed right, and looks like Johnny Link is also guessing wrong in terms of which fortress was needed to... Oh, no, we need both. Sorry, I didn't see the lock.
Yeah, this is probably the more complicated of the options that you could possibly have for a World 1. But like I said, 2 fortresses in a level. Hammer Bro, of course, is going to get into the way. That's his job. And then you're going to be moving on to the next one. So, our runner's moving along quite nicely here. World 4 for our leader. And that, of course, is Human Mustard, who's currently at a 1730 and is going to be looking at getting out of this World 1 here in just another minute or so.
So he'll be the first to this Hammer Bro. Don't really need to worry about the fireballs. Okay, and there's, as you've said, a useless P-Wing. And a useless Fire Flower, why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, if you're somebody that likes to rely on the items and such, this should play right up your alley, but it also could hurt you, actually, just in, the fact that you're constantly wanting to go after those items that you just don't need. I mean, at this point, we've seen a couple of different strategies. Obviously, it's no stranger that Leslie Pro goes after items. That's something he does. He likes that. But, that's not necessarily going to help him here unless you're pulling those clouds and those hammers that actually have reason to be used. I mean, if we've got 2 hammers out, sure, World 3 still could be an option, and it could be a very good option. Obviously, we don't know yet. But, at what point do you say that's too many items?
So meanwhile, Johnny Link clouded past the Parabeetles level, which is an interesting call. It does put him ahead of Midi Guy now and almost catch up to Human Mustard. but he's now short a cloud.
And Mini Guy DP did just hit that the off-screen wand grab, so the seconds between these two runners are minimal.
Oh,
And
wow.
Human Mustard now into 6F2, he's just a level ahead at this point.
Really shows you how much time that off-screen wand grab can make up.
Oh yeah, it is several seconds, and in a game like this where we come down to the wire more often than not, and between these four runners, we're not done yet. We're still not done yet. So we still have ourselves a race on our hands.
And Leslie Pro still isn't super far behind. I mean, he's going through the Power Beetles, he'll go through the Hammer Brother, and, he's like 2 to 3 levels behind. It's really not that much.
No, he's really not. It comes down to maybe some good guesses in World 8. We've seen that before. Maybe a couple, right?
Human Mustard's crazy route to the palace there. The pipe got him most of the way. Then he takes advantage of the screen transition to avoid the Hammer Bro, and we're on the airship.
So Jet World 4, and now our time is coming to a very quick end. We've got Johnny Link entering the World 6 airship. Mini Guy DP is hot on his tail. Speaking of hot, we got a couple of Fire Bros, and then the fight will commence for Mini Guy DP as well. And now World behind, but don't let that fool you. It was about a minute and a half for that one. Leslie Pro is taking up the rear at this point.
Yeah, so we still got World 3 and World 5, right?
That is correct, yes. So we've got the fight with Wendy still and the fight with Roy, and we still haven't seen a 3 Fortress World. So World 3 for 3 Fortresses?
But suddenly, like, with this unlimited hits, Wendy's a lot less of a threat.
So much so, and I think this is where Johnny Link's going to start excelling. He just missed an off-screen wand grab. You hate to see it. I thought he had it. He was going to be within 30 seconds of Human Mustard, and now this World 5 is just looking a little lengthy because of the 3 levels at the end. But World 5 is not looking scary either. It looks like we've got a pretty immediate pipe, and since there's only 2 fortresses, if I recall correctly, if the memory serves right, World 3 will have 3 fortresses, and this blue fortress is required, if nothing else, just because of route. And that's it. And you don't have to worry about whether it's right or not. You play it for the route, and that's it.
Yes, well, the blue fortress should break the blue lock, right?
It should, and even if it doesn't in this point, it's kind of a rare scenario, but neither fortress is required except that it's in the way. That's it. There's no locks, there's no bridges that our runners actually need because of this pipe setup, and that literally means that our runners just have to play 5 levels. If you have a cloud, you could use that anywhere here.
Yeah, though I think if it does break the blue lock, you can avoid a level. I mean, I guess it's a level for a level at that point, right?
I don't think so. If you do break the blue lock, then where the...
Oh, yeah, you're doing either 7 or 9 as they're labeled.
Well, and you can skip 7. Well, you had to have broken the lock, and that's the key. Is if you wanted to go that way, you'd have to do it. But if you go the other way, it's no more levels, and you don't have to guess then. So I think that's the smart choice there. You see the end, you might as well play it. But kind of a weird scenario, not one we see all that often.
And that level was actually 1-3. Human Mustard did not decide to go for the item. Warp whistles are removed. There is some random item if you go for what would be the warp whistle.
Okay, a beautiful strategy from Leslie Pro. I love how he set that up. He brought Iggy all the way over to the left side of the screen so that when he got the jump, he had the running start to build up that piece speed and was able to get to the other side in time to go for an off-screen wand grab. So a little bit of a setup means a huge payoff for him. Very nicely done. Now, World 7 airship does come up on World 5, and just like that, Human Mustard going to be looking for the fight with Roy. and then he will be going into World 3. I am very interested to see what happens here.
And MIDI guy going a little slowly just to make sure that that boss bass doesn't gobble him.
Yeah, that is a huge thing to be concerned with. Sometimes you can get lulled into the sense of complacency and security and not have to be all that concerned about things. Well, no, Boss Bass will still take you out. Things can't deal damage to you. He doesn't deal damage. It's an instant gone.
So you were saying the first couple of worlds took a while, but it seems like the game pace has really picked up now, and I would expect something closer to 35 than 40.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, this World 3... Oh! Ooh! This World 3 is nightmarish. I love it!
Okay, maybe I spoke too soon.
It looks like we have 4 levels right off the bat, as well as a fortress. So even if there were a double rock hammer play here, you still have to play 2 levels just to get to the fortress. And if it's required, you're kind of wasting your time. I mean, there's 2 more levels after it. So 2 hammers for 2 levels, I guess worth at this point. But one thing that we do not see on the left-hand side of this World 3 map is the fact that there are really not that many pipes. I saw one on the right side of the, obviously, left screen transition of where we start. That only makes sense if you play SMB3. I apologize if that was weird. But anyway, so we got a couple pipes where 3-4 and 3-5 normally would be, but that could just lead to each other. We don't have any idea what happens next.
Nice little reprieve, though, with that beta level. Oh, interesting. Human Mustard is using 2 hammers to avoid that fortress for the time being.
Okay, very interesting. He will have to play the fortress, though, I think, because there's no other way to get through this without breaking that lock. I'll have to take another look. And another cloud for Human Mustard.
I'm confused why he beat those 2 levels first. Yeah, right, you have to play the fort to break the lock, so why did he just waste 2 hammers?
This might be a 200 IQ play. There's no way he could have known that the coin ship had a cloud in it, because the only thing I can tell would make sense there is that he didn't want the coin ship to hide behind the levels to the point where he couldn't actually play it. That's the only thing that makes sense to me here. But there's no way he could have known that.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him in the interview.
I feel like, knowing Human Mustard, there's only one thing that makes sense for me here, and that's that he had the items, so he might as well have used it. And it's possible maybe he didn't know that there was a lock where it was. Maybe he just went ahead and did it and like, hey, while I'm here, might as well take it on. You know, we definitely have to ask him about that, though, because I am very curious.
And meanwhile, he did use that cloud. He is now looking for the right pipe to get to the castle. There are a lot of them. Dying to try.
So yeah, definitely something we're going to have to talk about. Now, Johnny Link not going to be able to utilize the same strategy, or at least won't. He will have to play 2 more extra levels. And now Human Mustard could be taking a huge lead going into this World 8.
Yeah, what's the informal name of this beta level that MIDI Guy and Johnny Link are in?
Sanic, gotta go fast. I don't know that to be true. It just sounded funny at the time.
Works for me. Oh, as Johnny Link also finds 5-3 here, no shoes allowed.
Yeah, and what a terrible level to find. There have been a lot of really long levels in this game so far. We've had 5-9. We're missing 7-5. We're missing 7-9, and we're also missing Atlantis. But other than that, we've had a lot of really long levels so far.
So that was just a huge galaxy brain play on the part of Human Mustard to manage to avoid these levels.
Absolutely. Like I said, I don't know how he pulled it off to even know that, but then to use the double hammers, get a cloud, go back, finish the fortress, come back, skip the level. I mean, he skipped some really valuable levels there that really suck a lot of time out of your run. That's big brain. I got nothing else, man.
And Leslie Pro's now in World 3, so we'll see how he handles all this. He's taking a
And
moment to think.
Human Mustard going after a Tanuki suit strat there looked good. And I mean, the Fort Knox is going to be one of the easier levels here because Tanuki suit's already attached. Now, as we're talking about permanent Tanukis, that's not necessarily something that we'll always do. You know, sometimes we'll do permanent small or permanent hammer or, you know, any of the others, which kind of begs the question, so what happens if 7-1 comes up, 7F1? And the answer is that we have a frog-friendly mode, which means every level is beatable even with a frog suit. So what actually happens is 7F1's pipe drops all the way down from the ceiling, so you just have to jump on the first carpet boo and then jump up into the pipe. It's very easy to get to.
I need to see one of these permanent frog races.
Yes, you do. We'll have to get another race set up. We'll have to let Human Mustard know. It does take some preparation because that is something you have to be both physically prepared for as well as emotionally and mentally and basically everything else because it is taxing, but it is fun to watch.
Yeah, I imagine completion times there are more like 45 or above.
If you're playing a one-hit KO, it could be even longer. But yeah, permanent. It does get up there.
Yeah, I was thinking invincible, like how we're doing the Tanuki currently.
So Mini Guy DP, unfortunately, not able to glide over the gap there. He will have to go under. I think he made part of the music bridge on accident. Either way, 7-2, he will get through this time, no problem. And Fort Knox on the side of Johnny Link. As Superior Clock 76 pointed out, he clouded 5-3, lol. You are absolutely correct. That is part of the Galaxy brain play there. It's not just 200 IQ, it's like over 9,000 IQ at this point.
Hey, Leslie Pro's doing the same thing. Let's see if he clouds it too. He's going to avoid the gotta go fast level. But with that cloud, let's see if he clouds 5-3.
Oh, surely he does. Yep, there it is.
Nice. So 2 out of our 4 runners made that play, which turns out to be quite the play. And I think this is the pipe Leslie Pro needs too. Yep. So he gets that first try. He's probably not enough to win the race, but he's definitely making some time back up.
Absolutely. And if I saw that correctly, Leslie Pro has another cloud. So if the level 8-1 or 8-2 is in the way, he could actually go over it and gain himself just a little bit of time.
But the real question is finding all the forts and ships necessary to build the bridges to Bowser. We don't have any bridges to Bowser today. Though Leslie Pro could cloud this desert level that Human Mustard's in to get to Bowser faster, but other than that, you just need to find the right pipe and you're golden.
So I do recant my previous statement. It looks like 35 might be on the mark as far as what we're going to be seeing our runners come in as.
Yeah, the only thing is, with the Tanuki suit, you do have to wait for Bowser to punch his way through the floor.
That is true, but that's also a little bit of a relief. That does mean that you don't have to worry about taking any damage, for one, so you could just stand there and not have to worry about it. But that also means that your opponents won't be able to take a early kill on Bowser and kind of snipe it out from under you. So I guess that part's nice.
Well, the flip side is the permanent hammer suit, where you know that everyone's going to get the quick kill.
Absolutely, and I know there's a lot of people that kind of go back and forth on whether they like it or not. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the permanents. It's a real easy way for a new runner to kind of feel like a speed runner. You know, I got started a couple years ago. I started running this and everything. And even though my internet doesn't allow me to stream anymore, I sure do love playing this game and just being a part because of all the crazy fun things that they do. And Permanent Tanuki Suit kind of makes me feel like, you know, I can do it too.
Now, Leslie Pro is taking both of these first 2 forts. I saw some of the other runners do the same thing, I guess. just safety, make sure, you get all potential locks out of the way. But it does take time. That Piranha 4 ate up some time. And meanwhile, Human Mustard is one Bowser jump away from winning this thing.
And we got a little bit of a statue flash from Human Mustard, who is just showing off what the Tanuki suit can do. There is an invincible side where if you press down and B, it will actually create a statue. Kind of an interesting fact, but that is one of the things that the creators added to it. And with that, we've got Human Mustard coming in at a 34-36 to win the race tonight.
Yes, and just worth mentioning, we also have an off-stream runner, but Human Mustard is first overall, including the off-stream runner. Let's see if we can get him in here for an interview.
So one of the things that he brought up in the chat was exactly what we talked about earlier. He said, next time we have to play time attack, which isn't exactly what Mad Ewok Herd had talked about, but it's very, very close. So if you take damage, then you lose 100 seconds off the timer. And that does get scary because if you take 3 damage or 3 hits, that most likely will be the end of a level for you. So you would have to start it over, as the majority of levels only have 300 seconds. So we will definitely have to keep that enlisted in the banks for next time.
And MIDI Guy is now on Bowser. Johnny Link starting Bowser's Castle. Leslie Pro has really been focusing on the fortresses here. Hasn't managed to find his way through yet.
All right, and we will see if we can get Human Mustard and MIDI Guy in here for some interviews. Definitely want to see what was on Human Mustard's side to go for the double hammer break and then go from there.
Well, with Johnny Link and Bowser, maybe we'll get all 3 of them at the same time.
All right, and now we have Leslie Pro working on the desert level with the Angry Sun. And of course, the Angry Sun, not a match for our guys. They're just too fast for him. And we do have a finish time of 36:25 for MIDI Guy DP. So a GG there for him for sure. And Johnny Link right behind him. Not going to be too much longer here either.
So yeah, that does it for Johnny Link. 3rd on the restream, 3rd overall. 37:08, so less than a minute after MIDI Guy. And Leslie Pro's not going to be too much longer either, as he is past the Everyman clip. Not even going to try for the direct clip to Bowser, though, so he's going to have to go through the laser beams, which, well, not really a big deal. Like, it would be more challenging if there were, recoil when you got hit that could knock you back into the lava, but as it is, we just kind of go through. And it sounds like we have been joined. We have MIDI Guy DP in here with us. GG.
GG. That was pretty fun. And yeah, there was talk about perhaps next time we do a perma status, it should have an extra bonus called a time attack, where taking damage loses you time, which is definitely an interesting idea. Scary, but interesting. I like it. Definitely like it. Well, that was pretty fun, though.
Yeah, I mean, definitely really places an emphasis more on strategic exploration of the world.
Yeah.
We are also joined by Leslie Pro. So yeah, now that I have 2 of you in here, I'm curious. One interesting divergence we saw was the beginning of World 3, where Human Mustard and Leslie Pro used 2 hammers and the other 2 of you didn't. So can you talk about your respective thoughts on why you routed that as you did?
So for my double hammer, I decided just hammer the rock in front of you first, play up to the fort, double back, hammer again, because that may have seemed like extra effort, but that saved a stage from being played. Whatever it was, I'll never know.
It was 5-3.
Okay, so I skipped a long stage, so I saved about, just a ballpark, at about 20 seconds there.
Yeah, I think that World 8 was it was the last world that even had hammer opportunities. Not World 8, World 3, sorry. It was the last world that even had hammer opportunities. So if I had hammers at that point, which I didn't have any, I would have done the same thing. Even though it only saved one stage, but well, at that point, might as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with that stage being a longer one. In fact, both hammers I found on the piranhas in World 7, which, speaking of, both World 7 forts on the first screen in World 8, and I'm pretty sure that 7F2 was required.
Probably. I have no idea what lock it broke. No clue, but it didn't build the bridge, that's for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Maybe it was the lock at the in the like there was 2 locks on that hand stage area on top. Who knows? Maybe it was there. Who knows?
Yeah, it was interesting that 7F1 led into 7F2, which doesn't surprise me. Oh, Rando, I know you like to pair them in the same world, but on the same screen in the dark world? That's a new one for me.
Yeah. There was one level I was hoping to see because I just wanted to damage boost the whole way just for fun. I really wish we would have seen 7-7. I know I didn't see it. I wouldn't have taken any stars. It was just yay fun damage boost. Yay, I got invincible feet, I guess, or something like that. It just would have been funny. The only levels I was particularly scared of coming across were 7-1 and 7-6, because I did not want to have to clip with the Tanuki tail.
Yeah, subpixel perfect clip, no thank you whatsoever. You can build up enough P speed to fly over the top of 7-6. I've seen it done, so it's definitely possible.
Oh, I was thinking you'd be worried about Atlantis because you can't just take a death to get out of there.
Yeah, you can't statue drop to get out of it quick, because for the permanent Tanuki status, something I noticed, as I'm sure Restream noticed too, is that if you try to go to statue form, the game says, nope.
Yeah, Human Mustard was doing some interesting playing around with that.
Look at that. I'm just going to disconnect and reconnect. Having trouble on my Discord. Give me just a sec.
Yeah, Human Mustard was demonstrating that for us after he beat Bowser while he was waiting for the door to open.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, because there were a few things I would have definitely statue stomped, like the Roto discs for sure.
Yeah, I forgot you can actually do that. I noticed something, but this is something I didn't know, by the way. I didn't know that if you use... I thought when it was perma Tanuki, I thought no matter what item, you just be regular Tanuki. But you can actually use P-Wings, and it'll give you the P-Wing status for that level.
Oh, does it?
Did not realize that. I just used one randomly, and it worked.
Oh, I totally missed that, because Growlwolf and I were discussing that, and he thought you couldn't.
Yeah, a situation never arose where a P-Wing could have helped. I mean, it could have helped in 6F2, because my movement wasn't good enough for 6F2 fly, so I had to back off. That cost me, I want to say 10 seconds right there. Dying would have been worse, but still. That's not the point. The point is I missed it. Don't!
Gotta have fun. Gotta love that. Overall, by the way, I've been cutting out quite a bit. I think Discord is giving me quite a bit of trouble. So I think on that note, I think I'm just going to let you guys go on this. This was a lot of fun, and I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, and GG.
GG's, Mitty guy. As to all the runners,
Good game, Mitty.
that was fun. Like, this was my first time touching the game in a couple of weeks because I was out of town. But hey, I would definitely do this again. That's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to see a totally different sort of mode here. I'd certainly never seen this before.
Yeah, it's nice to divert, that's for sure.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we've seen Perma Frog with the frog-friendly levels. Not this. I was hoping we'd get Perma Fire so I could at least show off what I've learned with the Bowser fight, as I've picked up that strat for getting rid of Bowser quickly. Took some doing, but I picked it up, so we're there. We're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there was one time we did a Permafrog Oko. Whew, that was an adventure.
Hey, and if you liked this, we're running another experimental mode at 7 p.m. tomorrow. It will be on one of these speed gaming channels yet to be assigned, but bracket whistles. I have not seen whistles in Randomizer before.
Neither have I, so this is going to be extremely interesting. For science!
For sure. We sort of did it on one of the seeds when we did that race, that 6 seed race. We did it then, and it was one of the 6 seeds. And yeah, it's the kind of whistle that just takes you to the next world. It was pretty dang interesting. Also a very big race, that. Oof, exhausting. But fun.
I believe it. Although I will say this, and I'll pitch this idea out here. Fred Coughlin's the creator of this Rando, was also able to implement random whistle tunes for Zelda 1 Rando. I wonder if that's something he'd be able to implement with this Rando, too.
Oh, that would be a nice touch.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I can't even figure out all of the whistle tunes he implements. And of course, the whistle in this game makes the same vanilla sound as the whistle in Zelda 1. So if he can do it there, I don't see why he can't do it here.
Yeah, I'd love to hear the Song of Soaring. That would be fun.
There'd be a lot of fun songs that could be played.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Anyway, we should start wrapping up here, but do give all these runners a follow. As Growlwolf mentioned at the beginning, they're all really good runners, active members of the community. 3 out of 4 of them made brackets in the tournament that just ended a couple months ago, and Leslie Pro went really far in the Challenge Cup. So yeah, they are all good guys, and you'll see them around a lot if you watch more SMB3 Rando.
For sure.
Absolutely. Not the only thing we play, I'll say that much. Because a lot of us have other interests elsewhere.
And Growlwolf, if you're still here, it was great getting to work with you again after, a few months off from Rando here after the tournament.
Always a pleasure and a great time. You guys really put on a great show, so we certainly appreciate that. Obviously, it's a lot of fun to watch, to be a part of. And Permanent Tanuki Suit, what a fun one to kind of get started back with.
Yeah, and be sure to join us here tomorrow at 7. Keep your eyes peeled for the schedule. Let's see if we can get that posted in chat.
Absolutely. And
there we go. Schedule now posted in chat. Yeah, so keep your eyes on that to see what channel gets assigned for that match tomorrow at 7.
Absolutely, and you definitely will want to be here for that. You know, the warp whistle is going to add a whole new element. It might make it a much quicker game. In fact, if we find whistles, it definitely will be. But definitely one you're going to want to be a part of and want to tune in for and kind of see what we're doing with the whistles this time. So definitely be a part of that.
And until then, have a great evening. Keep on randoing, and I'll let Growlwolf wrap this all up.
Absolutely. And before we do wrap this up, you know, we definitely want to extend a special thank you to anybody that was here tonight. You know, chat, we wouldn't be here without you guys. Speed Gaming, we wouldn't be here either. And then, of course, the runners, they make this happen. So Jossie and I, we get the really fun job of kind of getting to sit here and, you know, talk about the different things, the different strategies, learn something new. You know, there's all kinds of really great things here. So thank you so much for being a part of this. On behalf of the SMB3 Randomizer community and Speed Gaming, Jossie, and of course myself, Growlwolf, we want to say thank you. Keep randomizing, keep racing. Until next time, take care.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.